Welcome to Gate Crashers. I'm Gabriel Casso. My pronouns are they, them, and today I'm interviewing Davy Chou and Park Jimin, the director and protagonist of Return to Seoul, respectively. Um, okay, I want to start with you, Jimin. Re
Yes,
Return to Seoul was your first acting job, but you
yes,
were
exactly.
already a visual artist. Can you tell me if
Yes.
the previous experience you had, despite being in a different medium, helped you creatively as an actress in any way?
Your question is if my visual arts helped me
Yeah,
to
exactly.
play. Yeah, yeah. It helped me a lot, a lot because I think it's, of course, it's not with the same medium because acting is using your body, your voice, your face, your look. And when I do my visual art thing, it's I use it like other materials to express something
Of course.
in me. So it's quite different, but the creation, the way of creating something, of creating a whole character, yeah, which is thinking about also the past the character had, and the future she might have or might not have. But yeah, I think the process of creation that I have also in my everyday life, in my artwork, yeah, helped me a lot. It was my base. And also I want to add that I work a lot with my intuitions in my artwork,
Mm.
and it helped me a lot also to play, because I had to trust my instinct, yeah, to play. So
That's
voila.
incredible. I'm super interested in how
Uh,
art works in different mediums.
mm,
Um, okay, thank you. Davey,
welcome.
I was unfamiliar with your work before watching Return to Seoul, um, and I loved the film. So after watching it, I dived right in to Diamond Island, your previous feature-length film. And from the first few scenes, I noticed that there was a similarity between the two,
Oh
besides the
yeah.
obvious. Um, and I noticed that your characters have a very deep relation to the places you explore. Not only do they inform their being, but it feels like they are almost intrinsically connected in how they both feel. And I wanted to ask, where does that interest in depicting that come from?
Hmm. That's a good one. I haven't dig myself into the similarity between the two films actually, so it's interesting question. Um, but the answer it's an obvious one actually that I myself couldn't find before a while, which is your own self obsession that will eventually always find themselves through the work that you're doing as an artist, and you're not like conscious of it. You're just like naively thinking that's a great story, let's make the film, and at one point you realize
Yeah,
like shit, it's the same story. And the one thing
yeah.
actually that I will say it's similar, including to my first documentary film. Actually, it's not a fiction, but a documentary film I made called Golden Slumbers back in 2011. It's always hard to deal with a past or something that constitutes you, which you don't know. And it's not so much about digging into it with that kind of duty of memory philosophy of you need to go into the past and know where you come from. The character often have a more provocative or contrasting way of dealing with that, which is they decide to still project themselves into the future, but somehow they will need to kind of find their relationship with that kind of unknown past. And in Diamond Island, it's a bit different. It's about I'm talking about 20-year-old people who come from the countryside and go to
Yeah.
work in the city. But what I build the film on, which it's people will think of it when they know the history of Cambodia and the tragic history of Cambodia, is that we never mention the Khmer Rouge. We never mention the genocide that Cambodia has suffered from 1975 to 79, which has changed drastically the trajectory and the history of the country. I was born in France because of the Khmer Rouge, because my parents couldn't go back because we lost all our family. And so by making a film about this futuristic Cambodia with young people who never talk about the past, that's the very that's the elephant in the room, the thing that you build yourself. And this attempt of trying to always be obsessed with the future also means something about what you want to escape from. And
Yes.
Freddie is the same. She's like she's on an impulse going back to Korea, but she doesn't know anything about it. And she will never really go into the history of Korea, trying to understand exactly. She doesn't want to to make this kind of genealogy investigation that people will expect her to do. She's still like moving forward. And if she decides to be Korean, as she does in part 2, she just decides to do it some kind of like invention of herself as Korea rejected me. You didn't want me to be a Korean girl. Okay, I'm gonna show you that I can be Korean. I can have a Korean boyfriend. I can live in Korea. I can have a job. I can have friends. I can make my birthday party there. But I will do it without the help of anyone, without any family, and without any adoption center. And so that's the common ground of like this. And of course, you ask where does it come from? It comes from my personal story of having been born in France from Cambodian parents and not knowing anything about Cambodia until I decided to go there when I was 25. And somehow unconsciously or not, that kind of identity or ignorance about where you come from, it's the basis of all my work.
Yeah, as if somebody like erased or something erased your past or yours.
Like an ignorance that you cannot do nothing about because you were not like instrumental in that decision.
It's a struggle for identity. And that's very interesting because my next question is related to that. Freddie's journey sees her search for her roots, and even though she has a very strongly defined personality from the beginning, I would say even searching for her identity as an adoptee and a bicultural person. For both of you, Davy as a French Cambodian and Jimin as a French Korean person, and as artists as well, what was the process of portraying and connecting to that specific struggle she battles with and the vulnerability that requires?
Can I start, Jimin?
No, start. Yeah, you can start.
Can you rephrase the question? Sorry.
That's okay. What was the process of portraying and connecting to Freddie's battle of the search for her identity as a bicultural and adoptee person, and the vulnerability that requires from you to portray her?
Well, that's. I mean, that was the process of the film for me. It's like it's a portrait of a woman, which is not me, and her character and her personality is not mine. Actually, it's based on my friend's story, but it's also based on other people I could see having this kind of reaction to things and way of interacting and behaving with things. And it was really an attempt of how can I understand her? How can I, through the process of writing and working on the script, like how can I really put my mind into her mind? And by doing that process, hoping that I can understand her behavior, this will create some kind of coherency, even though for the audience, sometimes you don't really understand why she's doing that. But when she's doing it, it kind of makes sense. And all that attempt, I think eventually it's also to be able to share something of her experience or to share something of her intimate emotions to the audience, especially for such kind of character that it's an unpredictable character that sometimes doesn't do a lot to be liked, or will always find herself differently to what you expect from her, but also have some places of real vulnerability, as you say. And I'm hoping through the process of working and getting close to her that the audience will kind of eventually connect with her, despite the fact that at the beginning they will find difficulty, but they will get to understand something and at the end like emotionally connect with her. No, but not everybody does, but that's basically I think the project of the film as well. It's also on that.
And I think the vulnerability, vulnerability. Of the character, when you mentioned that she's not predictable and she doesn't do like expected things, it's also because she doesn't know herself where she's going, and I think she's composing like in the moment, in the present, and she's experiencing like new things, but not thinking too much about what could happen in the future. And I think it's the force and the vulnerability of the character and of those people. I think, for example, I am like that because I as I told you, I'm a very instinctive person, and I think it's a way of surviving. You know, you don't know what's happening, so you have to just compose with all you have at the moment, at the present moment. And I think it's this thing which gave the vulnerability, but also the force and also the complexity of this character, to never know what is happening next, but to keep going, to keep moving. Yeah.
Okay, love that answer. I think we have time for one question more.
I'm sorry, we're out of
Oh,
time. So
okay,
sorry.
that's fine. Thank you, Madison. And thank you, Iman, and you,
Thank
Davy.
you.
Thanks, Gabriel. Always a
That was
pleasure.
great.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I love your tattoo.
Thank you so much. Okay, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
have a
you.
good day.